Hey guys, welcome back to the last episode of the Added Touch, the podcast where we dive into everything in Arkansas adult education. Today we've got a special guest with us, Miss Ashley Ponder. Hello, hello.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Of course, of course. And as always, my trusty sidekick and co-founder, creator, Shamia Jefferson.
Hey guys.
Yeah, yeah. So, anything new in the education world happened since we last made an episode that you guys can think of?
We got good reviews on our audit review here
Oh,
just
yes.
this week. So,
Yes,
hey, we're very proud of that.
Yes.
absolutely.
Gonna make sure none of the kiddos ran off with a laptop that we weren't aware of.
Right.
The lady was
Yes.
there. The lady was there today, and of course, I went way overboard preparing. And I was like, "Do you need to see that? Do you need to see this desk, this table?" She was like, she just really calmly goes, "No, students don't usually wander off with a table." And I was just kind of like, "Yeah, that makes sense."
He was so friendly.
She was really nice. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, um, so kind of we're right here in the lull time in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Not really our peak time for enrollments or, getting in the zone, but it's kind of a welcomed break because it's been a little crazy this fall. But yeah,
Noticed that the weather, like, so when it was hot, I had more people come in the morning time, and then the
yeah,
afternoon was slow. But since it's been cold, it's been like just nothing in the morning, and in the afternoon, it's like people like wake up and come on in and want to get things going.
interesting. Hmm. Yeah, this cold weather, I'm
That
not
weather,
a fan.
it does motivate people whether to sleep it away or
Yeah.
actually be productive. So,
Oh yes. Oh yes.
And we have some that take public
so why don't
transportation,
we
so
Yeah.
yeah.
What was that, Shamia?
So why don't we do our brief recap so we
Oh
can
yeah, yeah.
dive in and get
Yes.
going?
Yes. Good idea.
So last episode, we try to kind of break down like the different parts of adult ed. We talked about like the IETs and what you do to qualify and all of the ones that we offered.
Yeah. So that can include um, of everything from your basic high school diploma, if any ages as young as 16 all the way up to I think I've had a student who was like 67. So anything from your basic high school diploma
Wow.
to brushing up on workplace skills, learn how to use a computer, all the way up to getting certified to be a phlebotomist or a CDO. I mean, there's all kinds of options, but it's a whole lot more than just the high school diploma.
And we broke down the differences between like wage one and wage two to tell you, that wage one is something we require, that was basic job skills and everything. And wage two is something that's required to obtain an IET. And they're broken down into the specialties just depending on what you decide to go into.
Right.
And today we wanted to kind of focus in on what Ashley does as an instructor with Will and I being admin personnel. So we wanted to kind of get her view and her take on what it's like being a teacher in adult education. Take it away, Ashley.
Woo, 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 woo.
yes, hi, I'm Ashley Ponder, and I have 18 years in public education.
Dang.
I spent 2 years as a high school social studies teacher because I had a bachelor's degree in history and was going the non-traditional licensure route during that time. And as soon as I finished that up, I started my master's in library media information systems at SAU and did that in a little less than 2 years, and then got offered a position in Star City as an elementary media specialist, and I did that for 10 years.
Wow.
And so it was a big switch from high school to elementary. They both have their great parts about it. And then when my son started kindergarten, I came back to high school and did that for another 5 years. So, and then this spring I will start my to get my adult ed licensure added.
That is awesome. So wait, how long have you been with adult ed?
So I was officially hired back in December of
Okay.
last year. And
Nice.
so, and then actually got in the classroom um, mid-January after
Okay.
lots of training
Yeah.
and professional development.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, I was started or I began in last November, so we were kind of right there together. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah, you kind of jumped around to the all a lot of different ages to teenagers to really
Yes.
young to back to teenagers to adults. So you've kind of done the whole spectrum. That's crazy.
Well,
Um,
I'm a nerd, and so I love learning. I love being in school. If I could be a professional teacher, that's what I mean, a
yeah,
professional student, that's what I would be. So, um, I absolutely love education. So I pretty much have done it all.
that is awesome. Wow. So are you what does your usual day look like?
Well,
Like where are
now,
you?
yeah. So I'm at the Reynolds Center in Pine Bluff,
Okay.
and it's been a quick.
With me.
Yes, with Shamia, we're like the power duo. I've had a lot of and just this past year I went from part-time originally and was at a juvenile facility for justice involved students. And
Okay.
so I was there for most of my time. And then recently, in September, got full time as an instructor. And after I trained someone at the juvenile facility, I switched over to full time in Pine Bluff.
Awesome. That is
So it
awesome.
was a very big jump. But in January, I will be at the Esther unit teaching wage
Oh
um,
yeah.
in the afternoons. So excited about that, January 6th.
Whoa. So okay, stupid question. When you say like unit, that's like a corrections facility, right?
Yes.
Oh wow, okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
So what was your I know this isn't exactly on the list of prepared questions, but I'm curious. Like did is that well ris like are they interested in learning for the most part or are they like what's your average, I guess under 18 would be your
So when I went into the juvenile facility originally, it was more like 17, 18, 19.
Okay.
That was my age range. And it honestly depended on what the judge had said. So
Gotcha.
if the judge was like, you have to get your GED, then
Yeah.
yes, they were very interested in that.
Yeah.
Um, if it was for some students, it was just that the judge said that they had to be enrolled in a GED program.
Right.
So that's a whole different attitude.
It is
So,
crazy. I
but
mean,
yes,
wow.
but I loved it because one thing about um, at a going into a unit is that you're going to have your students like they're going to show up because they're being sent in there in the classroom.
Yeah.
And so, you could plan ahead of time, like, okay, this student needs to work on fractions, and I could prepare the things ahead of time.
Yeah.
As at the Reynolds Center, you just never know if they're going to show up that day or not.
Right. And I know Shamia and I both kind of relate to that. Um, like I can have a whole worksheet prepared for this one student and then I don't see him for like a month and I'm like, well, great. So that's
Yes, I have a packet sitting there for a student that said they were coming like 2 weeks ago, and the packet's still sitting there. So
right. Yeah.
yes, but at a unit, they're going to show up,
Yeah. Because guess what? They don't really have a choice.
right? And you know how long they're going to be there, and
Yeah.
you can really prepare, and
Yeah.
that part is really nice.
That is
And
awesome.
I was nervous
Right.
at
And
first.
she was a perfect fit.
Yeah, no,
She was a perfect fit for our location due to the fact that, I'm a court liaison. So she's still dealing with the justice involved, but she
yeah.
has the experience, and the understanding. We actually had a unique case where a guy from her facility was released back here to us at the Pine Bluff
Oh, wow.
Center. So we've had, people she was familiar with from there and end up with us again anyway. So she was able to provide like a level of, you know, trust and continuity with the kid because they already, knew each other
Hmm.
prior.
And Shamia, we've had it the other way too, where they started out at our
Oh,
center, and then
oh
I met
yeah.
them. Then they
Uh-huh.
ended up in the facility, and
In the
seen them there.
facility. Yep.
So
Right.
um,
Right.
yeah, it's kind of
Right.
it has
So
worked
we've
both ways.
we've had some interesting Yeah, we've had some interesting things, but like I said, I feel like her experience there at, the juvenile facility did help her transition to us because the clientele at our center are, with me being the liaison at court, a juvenile court, are usually kids assigned to us from the
Yeah.
court system. I mean, we have other, adults as well, but we do have those juveniles too. Like I said, with the experience that she has, is really helpful to get the kids in and trust her. And like I said, like she said, with the judge, if they set those certain standards and those hours, most of the kids follow them. We'll have them fall off, but once they go back to court, it's like they're right back.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I've had three court-ordered students in a year. So the first two
Mm-hmm.
kind of just fell off and then went right back into whatever online homeschool slash just kind of not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then they, had to answer for that in court. But I have one right now that seems to be doing pretty well. It's just crazy. Like, I mean, I never really thought, I mean, it makes sense because they're under 18, but it's just interesting um, that a judge would really have to make them do that, which I guess if you're 17, that's not really on your priorities, but it does make me feel good when you see them initially walk in like, ugh, I have to do this, and then they kind of actually start enjoying it, and they kind of shed that nervousness and fear of typical schooling. I just think that's really interesting because it's not always a behavioral thing. It a lot of times can just be what they're comfortable with, or if they need, more of a one-on-one setup. But yeah.
Well, I have a story that kind of demonstrates that. Is I had a student who came in at the end of April
Mhm.
into the facility that I was at, and he refused to even take test. He
Oh
would
wow.
not. He had had two brothers die
Ugh.
or be murdered
Oh
um,
crap.
through gang violence, and he was just angry at the world. And like I said, he
Yeah.
wouldn't even take tests. And, I slowly gained his trust, and we got to work, and he saw that, I really wanted him to get this.
Yeah.
And he recently just in at the beginning of November got his GED.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
so, just seeing that process for him was was so amazing, because now this student has this diploma for the rest of his life,
Right. Yeah.
and so he just has a better chance. And that's just one of the benefits of being in adult education.
That's so awesome. Um, and we kind of see both ends as well. So a lot of my older folks, 30s, 40s, 50s come in and they're like, yeah, dropped out at this age, blah, blah, blah. And then now I realize how important it is. So it's
Right.
weird to see that dichotomy of, oh, I'm a young person, I know what I'm doing, I don't need it. And then 20 years later they come back like, well, I actually do need it.
Yeah. Yes, see that quite a bit, quite a bit. And so yes, it has its positives. When I worked in the juvenile facility, you see some kids that, they would get released and they'd end up right back. And then you would just, your heart
Uh-huh.
would break for those students. And Then you just have some that just, came in there and was just like, okay, I'm getting to work.
Yep.
And those were the best cases.
Yes, yes. Let's see here. I guess we haven't really talked about what were your first thoughts when you first started kind of coming from a standard schooling system into adult ed?
Well, Shamia and Will, I'll just be completely honest. I had no idea.
Yeah,
I had
absolutely.
no idea. Only thing I knew, listen, I didn't even know that like they had to take four tests separately. That it was
Yeah.
made up before. The only thing I knew about um like adult education was that when I was a child, my parents got their GED together in Dermont,
Oh
and
yeah.
they would leave us with a family member and go to class. And and I remember my dad bragging about getting a higher score than my mom. So, yeah, I really did not know much at all about it. So,
And I didn't either when they first or I guess I saw the job listing. I was like, what is adult education? Like I thought that was where they taught um disabled people like how to do basic life skills. Like I didn't even it just didn't even dawn on me. Just because Stuttgart has just been such an underserved area for 5 years. So it really hasn't been on a lot of people's minds, and that's something that we've also been trying to change. I think we've been doing pretty good though. Um, but that's awesome. So,
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. I didn't have a clue. And the funny part about it is like when you get in and you see all of the opportunity there, it's like, how do people not know this?
uh-huh. It is, yeah.
How do they not know?
right.
Let's see. So
Well,
if
why don't
you,
I talk a little bit? I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No,
Go
you're
ahead.
good. Go ahead. It's hard
No,
not to
I said
interrupt on Zoom.
yes. So the difference in public education and adult ed, wow,
Yeah.
um, quite quite different. It's a whole mindset difference. I think that in public, I have a son, he's 13. He absolutely hates going to school.
Mhm.
Not because of the school itself or the teachers he just, they see school as like something that they have to do. It's a burden.
Yeah.
It's getting in their way. And with adult ed, it's all about they're in there because they want to be a lot of times. Even when a judge, orders them to get their GED, there's just a difference in attitude than with public school. And so
Yeah.
that has been one of the greatest things. And with adult ed, you can really work one on one with a student as opposed at a public school where you're just busting at the seams in a classroom.
hmm Yeah. I can imagine that
Yeah,
would be
and
a lot.
one-on-one really matters.
Yeah, it
Yes.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had one student that, just really didn't enjoy school. I think he kind of had some social issues
Yes.
to work out, but I mean, he was smart as a whip. He was in and out and graduated within a month. Like
Yeah. We had that
studied,
too.
yeah, like
Wow.
studied over 20 hours a week, like did more than the required. And I mean, he's rocking and rolling. So it's awesome to see that.
Yeah, we had a student that was the same way, just, 16, for whatever reason, public school just wasn't working for him
Yeah,
and came in there and within, just a few weeks, had his GED. So,
that's awesome.
um, yes. And so 16 has his GED and can just, go on with his education. So at such
hmm
a young age.
That is awesome.
Right. And it matters, like providing a safe space for these students. I think that's really like the big difference
hmm
between public school and adult ed. They get to tell you, hey, this what works, this is what doesn't work, and you're actually able to give them that. And like Ponder said, in public school, you may have 20 different kids that have 20 different needs, and it's really
Yes.
hard for one person to try and help, do that when it's like one general subject that you're having to teach. Well, at least with adult ed, you can break things down individually for each person. Their individual needs are served. And I think that that's probably the biggest, plus to adult ed.
And for me, like just you can see immediate results in adult education.
Yeah.
With in public school, you don't often see just these big, benefits right away. It usually takes a little while. But with adult ed, you can change someone's life so quickly, and that is very satisfying.
Yeah, yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, I've never really been in the public school setting other than as a student, but my mom actually has taught since 2005, from junior high to high school and back and forth, kind of flip-flopped. Then I'm steadily poking her, saying, "Hey, hey, come to adult ed. Come to the dark side. We
Yes,
cookies."
yes.
Uh,
uh,
but yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure that you and your mom would make an awesome duo.
that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. We might have to establish some ground rules, but um,
I think she might establish the ground rules.
right, for sure, for sure. But she'll still need me to turn on to get the computer working sometimes. We might have to put my mom in computer fundamentals for wage. Uh,
Yes.
That would be so funny. So
Lord,
cool.
Lord. But yeah, guys, let's see here. I think Zoom is yelling at me. We've got about 6-ish minutes left because I
Okay.
am not paying for the pro, but that should give us plenty of time to kind of knock out the last round of info here. Um,
So, fun facts, some statistics to go with what we're talking about now. Will, I think you were able to come up with some stats, right?
yes, so in the state of Arkansas, let's see here. On average, I think they had, or the state of Arkansas in, well, last year, 2024, had 2,941 students pass the GED exam.
Wow.
And then 2023, it was 2,659. So that's just passing. That's passing all four. So you do have quite a bit that, maybe
Mm-hmm.
didn't pass all of them or maybe are still enrolled and working on it.
Right.
But I did find that online as well as the conference that I went to a while ago, that Arkansas has an 86% GED pass rate. So that's, I believe, the fourth highest in the country. So the little GED rep that was doing the conference was just lit up. He was like, "You guys are doing great. I don't need to really." But it is really, you wouldn't think that of Arkansas, but um, while our public school K through 12 figures might not be so hot, at least we're capturing that
Yes.
demographic at some point. Let's see here.
And it,
Well,
it is and it is so fulfilling when you get justice involved. Students get them a wage certificate, get
Yeah.
them a GED, things to just help them go into life and do some good with their life. It also builds them up, and it's just such a
Yeah,
satisfying.
it is. It is. But yeah, so what can uh, a high school graduate through the GED program really do after that? So a lot of times, especially with our young ones, enrolling in skilled trade programs, vocational programs, they do have to be 18. But we do see a lot of that actually. So skilled trades, HVAC, plumbing, electrician, as well as, just office roles, kind of temporary reception type jobs, even education and healthcare. There's a lot of people that end up wanting to be teachers or
right.
phlebotomists or nurses.
Yeah,
But
we've had a few stay on for our IET programs.
yeah, and that's what's
Then
really awesome that we can kind of a one-stop shop for that.
right. And we actually had I think it was half and half for Ponder and I. We had like half stay on for IET and the other half we helped them enroll in the local community college.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. That's so awesome. But yeah, I've even had one guy that he's just now 17, but he's like, I'm going to diesel mechanic school the second I turn 18. I'm like, you go for it, dude.
Yes.
Um, but just to close
Absolutely.
out, yeah, just to close out here, I think I saw that the unemployment rate is lower for those with a high school diploma compared to those without. So the most recent stat I could find was in 2021. For those without a high school diploma, the unemployment rate was about 10% compared to 6% for those with a high school diploma. So that 4%, while it might not sound like a impactful number, it really is given, the scale of unemployment. Um,
Right.
but it's just again circling back to the whole reason why Shimmy and I kind of wanted to do a podcast about our work, because that's not usually how usually you come home and you're like, I don't want to think about work. But I
Right.
don't know, call us nerdy, but it is such a neat opportunity and option for people that not many people realize has the potential it does. So it's hopefully through these podcasts we've sort of enlightened certain parts and changed your perception of what is possible through adult education. Um, and I'm nerding out over here, but I think it is really
Love
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Hopefully,
love it.
hopefully we were able to shine a light in a spot that we feel is beneficial for many reasons. Whatever the reason is, there's no shame in it and it's
No.
free.
Yeah, straight
Cannot beat
up.
free.
Free,
Straight up, it
free,
is
free,
free.
free.
Yeah, and that's another thing, I don't know, it's just kind of a public stigma of like, oh yeah, you got your GED. What's six times two, you know? But like I think they said 40% of juniors and seniors in high school can't pass the GED exams. Like it is not a
Right.
walk in the park. It is tricky.
It is. It
Very true.
is.
And that's another main reason why we're here. So, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of wrap up here. It is screaming at me less than a minute, but
Okay.
Miss Ponder, I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
hopping on here with us today. It's been great as
Thank
always chatting.
thank you. I enjoyed it. I can nerd out on adult education anytime.
Yes, yes.
All right, signing out.
Shami is signing out. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you learned a thing or two, and it's been a blast having y'all. So we will catch you later. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.